Killer whales on the coast of British Columbia also have some very distinctive coloration. But another thing to watch for in these animals is their general size. Good looking Helen and Hannah here.
It's busted. That's how we got stuck in the net.
Roughly 2.3 meters or 7.5 feet. So that puts them at roughly a mid-sized cetacean. Because the porpoises, on the other hand, they tend to be a lot smaller than dolphins. They're sometimes mistaken for being dolphins due to that small size. You've not yet seen any porpoises. There are two rescued and rehabilitated harbor porpoises named Jack and Daisy found in the habitat to my right. On the flip side, the animals we term whales, they often tend to be big. I maybe you've seen a killer whale before. Yeah, number of you. They're pretty big. They're about the size of a school bus. So we have these dolphins kind of smack down in the middle. But one of the best things to watch for with a lot of cetacean species is for that big tall fin on their back. And someone should know, what is the name of that fin? You can say that, right? Yes, dorsal fin. I heard from a few of you, absolutely. And I'm going to encourage all of you here to try and take a picture of Helen and Hannah's dorsal fins. Now, of course, it can be a little bit tough, but here is your opportunity. Excellent. All right. So, with these, here comes Hannah. So, how many of you figure you've got a good dorsal fin picture? Yeah, maybe not that many of us. It's a little tough, isn't it? And yeah, that photograph is exactly what researchers try and get every time they're out in the field. Why? Because dorsal fins are unique. They're a lot like fingerprints. Helen, the dolphin closer to myself, her dorsal fin is big curved, has a pointed tip. That's something those of you underwater had a good that a moment ago. Now, on the other hand, her dorsal fin is very triangular, a lot like a shark's. Yeah, it's these kinds of differences that allow us to track populations, to get a sense of where they go, where they like to hang out. It gives us the best opportunity to protect these animals.
They're trying to eat their fishes.
Though these gulls have been interesting here this afternoon, they of course are not the biggest threat with these animals face. Big threat actually mostly comes from people. That's something we've certainly seen in the stories of Helen and Hannah. Paula mentioned earlier that both of these dolphins are rescued and rehabilitated. In fact, they're both found entangled in fishing nets on the coast of Japan. They've noticed that Helen, her pectoral side flippers.
Look, Papa, one fish is rescued.
Her flippers had to be partially
They got stuck in the fish net, that's why.
Unfortunate. As we've seen here today, Helen can do anything.
Which one didn't, one
Part of the
did.
reason why she was deemed non-releasable has a lot to do with the amount of time she spends in human caregiving weather again. Same with Hannah, though we don't see any outward scarring on her. But it's because of these stories that we worked so hard here at the aquarium to make sure that same history doesn't occur to any other dolphins or whales out there. So we do a lot of research now. A lot of our research does happen out in the field every summer. We're gearing up for the new field season as we speak. But we also have the incredible opportunity to do research here on site that wouldn't be possible anywhere else. Better understanding their vocalization, their diet physiology, their lung functioning, even trying to answer the question of how much energy or food it takes for a dolphin to be a dolphin. Because generally, when we think these animals, we think of them being pretty fast and pretty acrobatic. An excellent demonstration of that there from Helen. But exactly how much food or fuel does she need to eat every day to keep being energetic like that? Well, oddly enough, we answered that question. These dolphins, all things, stay still. We ask them to be still for about 10 minutes at a time inside a piece of research equipment known as a metabolic dome that was designed to float on the surface of the water. And as the dolphins were breathing inside that dome, a computer measured how much carbon dioxide and oxygen the dolphins were breathing in, did some fancy calculations, and finally, in 2012, showed us these noisy dolphins need somewhere around 15,000 calories every day to keep doing things like this. But how much is 15,000 calories really? Well, for a dolphin, it's about 68 salmon or 88 herring. Or, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to keep up with Helen and Hannah here, all you need to do is just eat about 50 cheeseburgers every single day. Yes, these dolphins, they need access to a lot of fish. But that's why this kind of research is so important. Because, again, it really can help us, now that we have a better sense of how much food an individual needs to eat every day, once we get a better sense of how many of these dolphins are even found off our coast, it's some pretty straightforward math that helps us better guide and direct fisheries programs to help out these incredible, acrobatic, and sometimes noisy dolphins.
What are they making them do?
And of course, course, that's where all of you come in. I mentioned that we do research here on site at the aquarium, and we are, after all, a self-supporting nonprofit organization that's dedicated to the conservation of aquatic life. So your admission, if you purchase anything at our cafe or gift shop, if you purchase an animal encounter or a membership, all of these things go right back to supporting the research that happens here on site, but also some of that incredible research that we're able to do out in the field, on the water, every single year. So feel free to come back, visit again at any point in time. Perhaps consider purchasing a membership. If you have questions about that, my friend James is found here to my right with giving you away. He can tell you a bit more information about that. But otherwise, I'd like to take this moment to say thank you to all of you for coming and visiting us here at the Vancouver Aquarium today. On behalf of myself, the trainers, and the beautiful and splashy Helen and Hannah. Thanks so much, everyone, for joining us. Have a wonderful and splashy rest of the day here at the Vancouver Aquarium. And thanks for helping us.
Can we watch them?
So thanks once again, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us. It truly is with your help we can better reveal the secrets of these marine mammals. So if you do have any further questions, well, then